People Describe There, a series where people open up and share their stories.
How positive are you about your skin on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very positive? Present day, I am at a 7, maybe more of like 7.4. Not an 8, definitely not all the way at a 7.
Right now I feel about a 6 or 7.
Most days I'm anywhere from a 7 to a 10.
I'd say maybe an 8.
Today I'm a 6. I have my days when I'm a 3, I have my days when I'm a 10, and I feel so confident about my skin.
To answer that, I would probably say I'm about 5. I don't absolutely hate the way my skin looks, but I definitely don't love it. I just accept it for what it is because I know I can't change it.
I'd say about 8. For my face, I'd say a 7, just because it's always on show and it just gets more blemishes than the rest of my body does. So like this half of my face today, I would say is a 6, and this half is like an 8, because this is just smoother, got less blemishes, and this one's more blemished, bumpy.
I would say like a 5. She's okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate my skin a 6. That's just because sometimes I really like my skin and sometimes it makes me angry. I deal with breakouts quite often and some breakouts bother me more than others.
I would say a good 5. It really depends on the day for me. Some days I can be like, wow, I love my skin, it's great. Other days I can be like, no, I hate it, I can't look at it. It's like love-hate relationship, you know.
I'd say right now about an 8. Actually, I have quite clear skin. I quite like my skin. I think I have like quite a glowy complexion.
I would say about a 7 or an 8, maybe even a 9. I'm not hugely bothered about my skin. Obviously, I've got like spots on my cheek. I don't ever use the term bad skin because I don't think my skin's bad. I think that's too negative of a word. My skin is like temperamental.
I would say a 6. I'm not extremely unhappy with it, but also not extremely happy. It's like, it's okay.
I feel like that changes, but let's say right now, a 4 or 5. Yeah, I feel like that's normal, like for it to change, and like when it kind of gets a bit better and it's like less sore, less dry, you feel a bit better, so then you're like, maybe it'll be like, go up to a 5, 6, 7.
I was like a 0. But I feel like I'm sort of getting towards like a 2 or a 3. I'm trying to work really hard on being more positive about my skin.
Today I am totally at a 7. I feel freaking good. My skin has been doing much better than it was for the last like 2 weeks. So I feel freaking gorgeous today. I feel great.
I'd rate my skin at about a number 3.
I am maybe at like a 7 on a good day.
At the moment it's actually pretty good. About a 6, I'd say, because like I can kind of cover it and don't, like, it's not obvious all over my face. Like I've got the redness, which you can see a little bit, the red patches that are just kind of always there, and then my skin can get so red when I'm like flustered or stressed. It gets really red, which is kind of one of the problems. And then I've got the psoriasis. Like I said, it's generally pretty good at the moment. So these are the patches of psoriasis on my forehead. Got one here, and then it goes back into my scalp, but it has been so much worse. Like this patch, I lost like all of this hair here. It was really red, it was constantly bleeding, it was just so sore. Back then, I'd definitely say it was like a 2. It was really bad back then.
Have you always felt this way? If not, when did things change? I think growing up, I didn't really care, and then I think halfway through school I started to get really self-conscious because everyone was suddenly talking about the looks, and that's when I started wearing foundation and covering my skin and doing excessive skincare. And it just kind of gone from there and got worse.
I've definitely not always felt this way. I was really lucky as a teenager and I had pretty clear skin, and I've always been super pale, but I was never really that self-conscious about it. Things definitely started to change towards like when my boobs first started growing in. I started to get pretty bad stretch marks on my boobs. When I first started university, around like 18, 19, I got my first ever stretch marks on my legs. Since I've had loads of stretch marks on my legs. I get them like mainly on like the inside of like my thighs and like the back of my knees. That's like a really big insecurity of mine. I hate it because I just want to be able to wear my legs out, but I feel so uncomfortable about my stretch marks because I am pale. They come up really dark. Sometimes people have thought they've been cuts, but they're not. They're just like really red. So I kind of have always been self-conscious without makeup on, and I have a lot of discoloration. I have like really prominent dark circles, and that was like always something I just knew. But then I had clear skin, and then about 6 months ago I decided to come off hormonal contraception. But with that, I've had the worst time with my skin. I always have breakouts in multiple places. It's all around like my chin and my jaw. It just makes it so much more difficult because I feel comfortable with no makeup on apart from my spots. That sucks because I feel like I've got to a place where I want to wear no makeup and I just don't feel able to.
No, I haven't always felt this way. I feel like again that changes with like how my skin changes. There can be lots of factors like seasons and blah blah blah. It's never one straight answer. I would say probably my, let's say, outlook started to change like the older I got, because I got told by a doctor, oh, it'll probably get worse the older you get. And I thought, oh, you're joking. And I started thinking, okay, what can I do to do the best for my skin that I can, basically. So I was concentrating more on that and maybe finding like better products than I had, stuff like that.
I haven't always felt this way. Up until the age of 10, I had perfectly clear skin, so I never really thought about it. From the age of 10 to now, I'm now 18 and a half, I've had acne on my face and at times on my back as well. At my worst feelings about my skin, I'd say I felt like a 2 or 3. And at best, times when my skin has been most healed, I felt kind of like an 8 or a 9. A few weeks ago, I felt very, very differently about my skin. My skin had pretty much cleared up over this last summer, and then I just came to uni this term and it broke out worse than it has for years, and it really took me by surprise because I'd kind of reached a happy place with my skin, and then suddenly I just had these really painful breakouts, and it was the kind of breakout that you can't really cover with makeup. I have the ends of those breakouts now, but they're beginning to heal, and I'm doing some different skincare things, so I'm feeling more positive now. But I was feeling just really out of control and like I was at a dead end with my skin.
I've come to acceptance with my skin this past year. It's definitely been a long journey.
No, I have not always felt so positive about my skin. Like a year ago, I felt horrible about my skin. I wanted to change everything about my skin and my body. But recently, I have been accepting my skin and I've been loving my skin. But I do have my days when I hate my skin and I would like to change it and stuff.
I haven't always felt this way. I didn't really used to care whether or not I had vitiligo, but as I got older and as I started wearing like bikinis and stuff like that, so people could obviously noticeably see patches of my skin where I didn't have pigment and they're completely white, it made me feel more insecure about it.
I haven't always felt this way. When I was a bit younger, I used to get loads of pigmentation after I would get spots on my forehead, and I was getting like loads of spots on my forehead. Like one would go, then another would come, and I was ugh. I'd definitely say my skin around then was a 4. For my whole body, I've never really been that concerned. I will say my legs get so dry, so I'd say I'm a bit more negative about them, but just because it's kind of uncomfortable rather than just the appearance, you know what I mean?
No, I haven't always felt so positive about my skin. Like throughout school, I was always bullied about my skin. I've always had it ever since I hit puberty. I've always been so insecure about it. I used to wear so much makeup. A few years ago, I had someone really great come into my life who made me feel so comfortable in my own skin, literally, and I stopped wearing so much makeup because I felt so good without it on around them, and it kind of just completely changed my mindset on how I feel in my skin. I realised that whereas some people do wear makeup for themselves, I found that I was wearing it to impress others. I don't like wearing that much makeup. I literally just do my eyeshadow, my mascara and my eyebrows, and I'm like happy to go out now.
I've always had the redness of the skin, but that's generally not a problem until I had psoriasis because I could cover it up with makeup. But now I've got psoriasis, it takes me so long to find a product that works, that doesn't like irritate my skin or inflame it. Before I had psoriasis, I got it really bad when I was like 19, and then since then I've hated my skin. But before that I loved it, because the only issue was redness, but I could cover it up with makeup and that was that. Like I've been quite lucky, I've never had issues with acne or spots or anything like that. So before I got psoriasis, I loved my skin.
I haven't always felt this way. I felt this way for about 3 years now, since my skin has started to react badly to different environments.
I've absolutely not always felt this way. My number, like on a scale of 1 to 10, used to be negative like daily. And I think that things kind of changed when I hit puberty. My skin was changing in a way that I did not like. I felt different than most girls because I kind of hit puberty earlier. I felt very unfeminine because of it. And I think that was something that really broke my confidence down, because femininity is something that's important to me personally.
I've not always felt this way. I would say up until 5 years ago, if you were to ask me the same 1 to 10 scale rating, I would have given myself a 1. I used to have horrible cystic acne all over my face, everywhere, cheeks, nose, lips, forehead, everywhere. It stopped right at the jawline, which was such a cute look to have like bubble wrap skin. I hated my skin. I hated looking at myself in the mirror. I hated going out. I didn't go out with my friends for years in college because I just felt that if I'm so sickly and grossed out about my own skin, how grossed out must other people be looking at it? Because there's, you know, it's like pus-filled pimples and scabs and like blood, and it was nasty. And a lot of times I couldn't put makeup over all of it because they were like opened wounds, and it would be worse if I put makeup on it. And even if I did put makeup on it, the texture was horrible. That time of my life was already a really dark time for me. I was dealing with a lot of depression and anxiety. How much I hated my skin really just added to that. I would say things changed around 5 years ago when I was on Accutane. I was put on Accutane, the drug. I think some considered it a controversial drug, but it changed my life, not even being dramatic. Changed my life.
I didn't really think about the condition of my skin until I was 16 and I started getting pimples on my face, and I was like, what is this? But before that, I didn't really think about it at all. I was more just focusing on, I guess, the aspect of like another part of my skin, which is my complexion. Yeah, I was just kind of navigating what that means for me and what that means as a person with other people who have the perceptions about who you are depending on your skin tone and everything. I just started my journey then when I was like 10 maybe, is when I really started like thinking about it. And then yeah, when I was 16, I started getting pimples. I didn't like it. I thought it made me ugly. Lies. It took a while for me to like get comfortable with it and to be like, this is normal, like it's fine, it shall pass, or it may not, but just accept it.
I wasn't really aware of my skin or any like blemishes on it more or less until I was 18. For some reason I didn't really notice it except every couple of months, and then I started using makeup for like the bags under my eyes and everything, and then it at some point changed into wearing full face of makeup every day. I would not be able to go into work without this full face of makeup because I felt it looked unprofessional and just generally gross and disgusting if you could see all these red spots and blemishes. And it kind of changed because I noticed that when I saw people who had really visible acne and stuff, I didn't care. Like, I noticed it, of course, because I have eyes. It didn't matter. I didn't think them unhygienic or unattractive or anything. It was just like, okay, they have this thing on their face, whatever. I never deemed it as a negative thing, I guess. So that kind of made me think like, okay, if I don't mind it on other people, why should anyone judge me? Most everyone has some kind of skin problems, and it doesn't make you any less worthwhile of anyone's attention or time.
When I was kind of a young teenager, like a child, I was a very freckly child. I had quite obvious freckles just all over my face and like on my cheeks, and I remember having very freckly arms. I remember getting quite embarrassed in the summer to go out in short sleeves. They came out a lot more prominent in the summer, so that was something that for a while I was really embarrassed about. I can't really understand why now, because I wish my freckles would kind of come back a bit, but I do remember feeling quite envious of people who had acne because I believed it was something that they could control and kind of use remedies on, but my freckles weren't. And I also thought that people with acne, it was just kind of a sign of them, like, you know, growing up, and when you're young you kind of want to look grown up. But I thought freckles made me look really young and like younger than I was. And also I was very ill, like, with an eating disorder when I was a young teenager, and that gave me really dry skin all over my face and all the way up my neck. And my hands, and I remember feeling kind of scared and not willing to let anyone like touch me and hug me and stuff, and actually scared because I didn't want them to be weirded out by the texture of my neck. I don't have as bad dry skin, so it changed probably over the last couple of years.
No, I haven't always felt this way. When I was younger, maybe like 13, 14, I would get a few spots, and I was always so self-conscious about that because I didn't know anything about makeup, and I don't have any sisters or anything, so I didn't know what to do or how to cover them. I also get eczema and things like that, and stretch marks as well. I was really self-conscious about that because I thought I was the only person who had them.
I used to get bullied a lot for my skin because I had a skin disorder. I still do. A really bad case of a skin disorder where you also used to regularly have to go to the hospital and like got seizures and stuff. They used to pick at me for my skin. Yeah, and then I developed the 𝘾𝙼𝘼𝘾𝙍, which is obsessive skin picking disorder. A lot of people don't know what it is, but it's a mental illness. I started to accept myself and like everything about me through therapy, and then I also got like skin therapy, which is where they remove that skin cells, like they scrape it off. It kind of hurts, which is how my head no longer looks like Mars, because I used to have a lot of scars everywhere and they would be different colors and it would just not look good. Also, I got a shit ton of tattoos, which is literally the greatest thing. If you hate your skin, just get tattoos.
I would say around junior high and high school, I was pretty insecure about my skin, especially when I started to have really bad acne. Also, stretch marks made me pretty insecure about the rest of my skin on my body. Ingrown hairs when I started shaving. There was just a lot of little things that started to make me feel a little insecure about myself. The past couple years, I've just kind of started to accept myself more for who I am as a whole instead of what I am on the outside. Even though sometimes I feel self-conscious about it, I just know that there's more to me than my skin, or there's more to me than what I look like.
Do you have any issues with your skin? If so, would you like to change it? I mean, I have issues that I would like not to have these spots all the time. I would like to have perfect skin, and I do skincare, and I'm sometimes tempted to buy a lot of stuff. That's definitely still an issue that I have. I would just like to have perfect skin and not have to do anything for it. When I do wear makeup, sometimes I definitely notice how I like myself better when I wear it, and it's kind of a slippery slope sometimes because I don't want to go back to wearing makeup every day, because that also makes your skin worse. Because makeup is not good for your skin. And also, I'm a pre-T trans guy, so I'm very excited for my skin to get really lovely as soon as I get on T and get a lot of acne. That's an issue that I have that is not yet present, but will very likely be present. So I'm excited to have to deal with that.
My issue with my skin is my acne. I also have hyperpigmentation on my face and some on my back and chest. I would change it if I could. I'd be lying if I didn't say that. I have spent a frustrating amount of time for the last 8 years worrying about my skin and trying to change it, and going to the doctors and the dermatologist and trying countless topicals that didn't work. It makes me upset, honestly, when I think about how much emotional energy I've essentially wasted on worrying about my skin. I am well aware that there are people who've dealt with much more severe acne than I have ever had, even at its worst. That doesn't change the fact that I have felt really negative about it at times and just hated it. So if I could wake up with clear skin tomorrow, I would, but I would not change the fact that I have had acne, even though it angers me how much upset I've let it cause me at certain times. When your biggest insecurity is on your face, it forces you to find confidence regardless of what your skin is doing, because there's only a certain amount of control you can have over your skin and over breakouts. And I owe lots of my confidence and resilience, I think, to the fact that I've had acne for so long and had acne through my teenage life. So I wouldn't change the fact that I have had it.
At age 8, I developed something called seborrheic dermatitis, which is in the eczema family. It's a super fun family to be in. I love being a part of it. It kind of looks like dandruff, I guess, but like really severe. So I developed it in my scalp, my eyebrows. I still have it in my ears and my scalp and sometimes in my eyebrows. And I also have like the little spots of eczema. I definitely used to try and change it. I remember going to the doctors all the time. Nothing worked. I remember my mum spending $300 to go see a skin specialist that I had to wait months for, and he told me exactly what we already knew, seborrheic dermatitis, and there's nothing you can do about it. I remember before that bathing in the steroid creams, the shampoos that just dry your hair out. It was just very stressful for me. I remember being bullied at school for it as well. You know, I was crusty eyebrow girl. I remember not wanting to go to school. I felt ugly. I felt itchy. I felt uncomfortable, scaly. I was all red, and it was pretty awful, especially developing it at such a young age. And it was really rampant from like age 8 until I reached high school. It was still there, but I learned how to hide it at that point. As I've gotten older, my hormones have calmed down and the seborrheic dermatitis has also calmed down, but it's still noticeable some days. Some days it's still really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I have some issues with the way my skin looks. I wish it was even all over, obviously. That would be really nice, but I can't change that.
Yes, I definitely do have issues with my skin. I have stretch marks, but I would not want to change them. I feel they make me unique, and I'm beginning to love them. I have a sunspot. I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of tanner than the rest of my body, and I got it ever since I was little, and it's there. I hated it before, but now I love it and I would not want to change it. It kind of makes me unique. I have pimples on my face and my chest and my back. There's days when I would want to change that and want to have clear skin. Right now, I would not want to change it because I think it's teaching me to love yourself no matter what you look like. So that's what it's teaching myself, I guess. I have dark spots sometimes on my face, under my armpits. I have dark spots, which suck. I feel like I would want to change it. Yes, I definitely. It's darker and you can tell.
Yes, as I said, I have very dry legs. I cannot use soaps because they just dry my skin out. And actually, they just dry my whole body out if I use them. So my torso areas is pretty good, you know? Skin-wise, it's pretty okay. My knees and my elbows, they get dark. You know when you're young and you like to run on your knees on the floor or whatever kids do. I would change my dark knees and elbows to make them the same color as the rest of my body. I would make my legs less dry. I would make my face a perfectly smooth, poreless looking canvas.
As you can see, like my skin is like very temperamental. I get lots of spots on my cheeks, but that's kind of it. I've got like one here right now. I don't tend to get them on my forehead. It's literally just like here. If I had like a choice to, then I would not have spots. Like, that is my choice. I don't find myself being that bothered about it anymore. I've tried so many things and nothing seems to work. You know, I've tried like every single like drug there is on the market to get rid of my spot. Tried every single cream, and everyone will be like, oh, have you tried this cream? I'd be like, oh, yeah, lots and lots. I've tried it lots. So obviously if I had the choice, then I would make my skin better. I would get rid of my spots, but I don't lose sleep over it. You know, if someone came to me tomorrow and said I can get rid of them, I'd be like, great, let's try. But I'm comfortable with them.
See, I wish I could say, no, I wouldn't change it, but I would, like 100%. If I could have no breakouts, I would. If I could be generally less pale, less cellulite and less stretch marks, I would. And that sucks because I really want to accept myself as I am. And it's something I'm really trying to practice and I'm really trying to get past. I think I would change it. I don't know. I don't want to, but I do.
Yes, I have quite a lot of issues with my skin. My face, I can't wash with any soaps, else it gets irritated, burns, is red. I get a lot of spots, so I just use water on my face. With the rest of my body, if I go outside and it's slightly cold, I get hives all over. If I'm doing the cleaning, even with gloves on, I get hives over my body in different patterns. Yes, I would change it because my skin used to be okay before 3 years ago, and I have no answer or understanding to why my skin's like this. The doctors kind of shrug it off. So if anyone has any idea of what it might be, I'd really appreciate some answers. Because my skin's got too cold or irritated, it's also starting to come on my wrists, my hands, and it kind of looks like an insect has bitten me.
Yes, I've got issues with my skin. I've got psoriasis on my scalp. It's all over the back of my scalp, on the front, a little bit under my eye, my elbows. And then I've got, I'd say one of my worst patches is on my boob, just underneath. That can get really sore. Would you change it? Yes, I would definitely change it. I would get rid of my psoriasis straight away if I could, if it was possible, but unfortunately it's incurable, so I just have to maintain it as best I can.
I've always had issues with my skin. Since I was born, I've had horrible eczema. I remember this little baby picture, and I'm just in a nappy, like eating a mango, and you can see all over my legs there's like super dark patches where I've probably like been itching or whatever. Pigmentation is an issue as well. Scarring, like I scar like super bad. I've got, oh I don't know if I can show you, I've got like a, can you see that is a mosquito bite. I'm allergic to the bites, so it goes very badly. Even like things like this appear sometimes. I've got like patches that are just like sore, lighter than others, so that kind of thing doesn't make me feel so great, but it could be worse, which is what kind of helps me to try not to worry about it so much, even though I do feel very self-conscious because it's right here, people can see it straight away.
I do have issues with my skin. I'm extremely sensitive. I phrased that wrong. I have extremely sensitive skin. I'm also extremely sensitive, but my skin is very sensitive, and any sort of hair removal to it causes like extreme reactions, and it gets kind of painful, and so I think that's why I would want to change it, because of the pain. And if it wasn't painful, no, I don't think so. I don't think that would change it.
Yeah, I have issues with my skin. I think everybody has issues with their skin at some level to some degree. My biggest thing is just like the texture of my skin. I have a lot of residual scarring from my acne days. I still get the occasional pimple or two when Mother Nature comes to visit. But I would say the biggest thing I would want to change about my skin would be just the overall texture of my skin.
I do have some issues with my skin. My only issue that I would really direly please skin gods bless me would be with my scars, because I scar so easily. I don't actually get pimples very often, or I don't get them in like clusters very often, except for recently. Like my skin has been the worst it has been ever recently. I really just like to get rid of my scars or find a way to manage them permanently would be really nice. It's not that bad, and I feel pretty freaking cute today. Like, can we just admire my skin right now? It looks good. I think it looks great. I look cute today. I went out today. I felt cute. I feel present. Feel cute.
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I have eczema. I get really allergic to dust, pollen, cats, and certain clothes as well. Wool, scratchy wool. I guess I would like to, because I have a lot of medication I have to use. I don't get it so much on my face, it's more my body, of random parts. I'll get hives and things like that, so I'd like that to go away, but it's manageable.
I have combination skin, so it can either be really, really oily and I just look like a pool of sweat, or it will be really, really dry and I'll put makeup on and then my skin's flaking off and it feels rough and it's horrible. I don't have too much spots. I usually get them if I'm on my period, and then I feel quite insecure around then, so I'd probably wish for those to go away when I'm on my period, and just the oiliness and the dryness to give me a break, because no products in the world are solving it. And it used to be completely dry and not oily, and it bugs me so much, especially when it messes with my makeup.
I have a disorder, chronic disorder called atopic dermatitis. It basically affects your whole body, from your eyes, to your eyes being weaker and possibly going blind, to like your teeth, your stomach. You will get chronic bacteria in your stomach. Wounds won't heal and you'll get really bad rashes, and you also, if it's really bad, you get seizures because your skin freaks the fuck out. A whole package will be affected.
The only thing I would really want to change about my skin is just learn how to manage my breakouts a little bit better. I'm not sure if it's my skincare routine or what I've done wrong, or if it's just how my skin is. But it would be nice to be able to treat my acne.
Any general advice for accepting the skin we have? I think being super honest with yourself about how you feel is like a big step, and I like talking about things that I'm insecure about, so doing things like this, and I talk about stuff on my Instagram and make videos for my YouTube, and that in turn helps me confront the issues I have, and also makes me realise that it's not going to hurt anyone if I go outside with bare legs. I've spent so much of my life wasted on being so deeply unhappy with myself in different parts of my body. I just don't want to do that anymore. It's just, for me, I just want to live my life and stop spending so much time being sad about the skin that I am in and start loving it, because it's completely natural. One thing I've started doing is following accounts on Instagram that show things like stretch marks and cellulite and pale bodies and normal things, and it makes me feel so much better because I can see it as beautiful, and then in turn I start believing that I am beautiful as well.
First off, tattoos are such a great way to gain confidence. For example, I work in a mental health field, and I had the problem that if I wanted to work with mentally ill patients, I would have to realize that my self-harm scars, and even just my normal scars, would essentially trigger every one of my patients. So I got them covered up. I mean, you don't have to, but like, you have to be aware. Wear less makeup. Don't wear any makeup day to day if possible. Don't be ashamed of going to multiple doctors, because skin disorders are usually not something most doctors believe in, or at least if you tell them, they will mostly be like, oh, that's fine, or they'll be like, yeah, you'll just have to live with it, work on yourself and the way you see your body, and you don't really have to love your body, in my opinion, but you can accept it. Self-love comes after self-acceptance. This is gonna sound so condescending, but as someone with dermatillomania, don't pick don't pick at it. Leave her be.
Embrace it. Everybody has something they're insecure about. You know, some people do have completely clear skin and they don't have any issues with it, but it's very rare. Even they are insecure in something that you don't know about. It's very normal to have problematic skin or be insecure in it or not want people to see it. We all have it. You're not alone. I promise you that nobody is judging you for it, and if they do, they're a horrible person and you shouldn't be thinking about them or their opinion and just ignoring it and forget about them completely, because you're great.
I think just knowing that we're all human and no skin is perfect. If it was, then we'd be robots. So everyone has imperfections, even though social media is very good for hiding things. You know, surrounding yourself with body positive people and unfollowing people that you like seeing their pictures, but then it just makes you feel bad. And follow people that are positive and open about themselves and show that no one's perfect.
If everybody was the same, then the world would be an incredibly boring place. People are attracted to other people quite often because of something that makes them stand out from people. I really like people with lots of moles. I think that's really, really beautiful, and I wish I had lots of moles, like people with moles on their skin. If someone's going to judge you based on something as superficial as your skin, then they're not someone you should be valuing in your life. They're not like worth your time and energy.
I think it's definitely important to realize that having skin problems isn't something that's unhygienic or unattractive, it's just normal. What you see on social media, a lot of people edit their photos, of course, so do I. I usually edit out most of the spots. So it's just like accepting that it's just human, like your skin is just there to protect your body and to hold in all the things you have. It doesn't matter if it doesn't look perfectly photoshopped and airbrushed and everything, because that's not possible. It's just an organ that's there to function, and it doesn't have to look perfect. You're not a bad person or unattractive person if your skin doesn't look perfectly porcelain or smooth or whatever. I think that's, for me, the most important thing that I had to realize, and it's still a journey, but we're getting there.
Honestly, this might sound really simple, but find the beauty in it. Find the beauty in your skin. We obviously, when something is quote-unquote wrong with our skin, we really, really want to change it because it's something that people will automatically see. You'll be like, oh my god, they're gonna think I'm ugly, or they're gonna think I'm like less worth, or like all these things. At the end of the day, you're the person living with yourself, with your face, with your body, with your skin all the time, And I think it's really empowering if you just find the beauty in it yourself, because then what other people say is like, yeah, you know what, I thought that at some time, but now I actually like it. Like, yes, I do want to find a way to permanently get rid of my scars or lessen them, because honestly, I found a beauty in my scars. Some days I actually like that they're there, and I'm like, oh, I look cute like these. It's like a little constellation. I wasn't born with freckles, so like, thanks for giving something resemblance of that to me, you know? I just think if you find the beauty in it, then you will feel better and start accepting it, because unfortunately it is hard to change how your skin is, especially if you're talking complexion wise. That's not happening. You know, not everyone can fix it. So I think just to find peace within yourself, just find the beauty in it, and you will feel so much better.
Don't wait to accept your skin and who you are just as a person. You're gonna wait for your skin to be clear, or you're waiting for yourself to get tan, or you're waiting for this or that. I don't think that that is really gonna ever come. For me personally, I had such issues with my acne, and when my acne was gone, sure, it was life-changing in the sense that I was no longer embarrassed about my skin, but I was kind of left with just, well, what now? Because I'm not happy yet, you know? I'm still dealing with I'm trying not to get emotional. I'm still dealing with depression and anxiety and all of these dark thoughts that I thought were going to magically go away when I had clear skin, and that did not happen. So it has been a long journey of really working within myself and going to therapy. Let's talk about mental health. Go to therapy and do the hard work that needs to be done in my mind and in my heart to love myself for who I am and not for what I want to be. I should not hold back my love for myself on the basis that I'm not where I want to be yet. I should love myself through all of my phases, and I think that that's really important. I think that body positivity is mainly focused on, you know, body shapes and body sizes. I think that skin is not talked about enough. I think that the textures and the colors and the look, it's not spoken about enough, it's not normalized enough, and I think that if we spoke about it more, I think that we would all have it a little bit more inside of us to accept our own skin, because we will know the reality of other people and we'll be able to relate to them. So I think that talking about it is the key to accepting the skin that we're in.
I don't know if I have fully accepted my skin, if I'm very honest, but what helps me like worry about it less is what I've been doing, which is trying to use more natural products rather than another cream from the doctors that has like 50 ingredients in it that I have no idea what they are. Instead, I try and use like hemp oil, shea butter, just natural stuff that's just gonna help me stay moisturized, try and keep on top of water consumption, things like that.
Specifically with psoriasis, I would just say I find it a lot better when I just not confront it, but like a lot of the time when you can see people like looking at it, or like they want to ask you the question, or sometimes they do ask the question like, what is wrong with your face? Like, I've had it politely, I've had it not politely. I used to kind of try and hide it and just not address it, but now I'm just like, yeah, it's psoriasis, I can't cure it. I kind of educate them the best I can, and then they just generally are pretty like, oh, okay. But yeah, it's when you kind of try and hide it and they're all like looking at you like, oh, what's that? What's wrong with that? So I would just say kind of try and embrace it and don't try and hide it. Try not to make it worse and beat yourself up, because I used to just, even though my face would sting at night and it would be so sore, I would wear makeup to cover it up the best I could. But now I've just stopped wearing makeup because generally it helps in the long run because my skin doesn't get as bad.
I'd struggle to answer that really, because I find it hard to accept my own skin at times. But really, I'd say don't care about what other people think your skin looks like. Just care about what it looks like to you, and if it looks better to you today, and how it makes you feel, and working on you, because that's all that really matters.
I think something that's quite important is to not pay too much attention to like celebrities and stuff on Instagram, which is so much easier said than done because they are everywhere. What you don't see is the big teams or small teams of people who look after them and look after their skin. I think for me, it was accepting that I might even have it for life, and it's treating it like that rather than constantly trying to fight it and fight it and fight it, because it's exhausting. I think something that really helped me as well is when it was in the summer and it was so super hot. I just couldn't wear makeup because it would sweat off me. It got to the point where I realised that nobody looked at me any different. I suddenly just went from taking 3 or 4 hours to apply my makeup to literally like 10 minutes, and no one looked at me any different. And I think that helped a lot, and it doesn't mean that will happen to you or you'll have that kind of realisation, but that really made a difference to me. Most spots aren't ugly, they're on me and I can't get rid of them. Like, you know, I've tried everything. Maybe I'll find something next month, maybe it will be in 2 years time that I find something, but all I know is like they're here now. They don't affect like who I am or what I do. I'm so grateful, I'm healthy, like I'm happy, and they literally don't affect me at all. I think like the last thing that kind of helped me on like not forgetting about my skin, but like learning to take a step back from concentrating on it so much, is every time that I found myself like staring at my skin and like touching it, I would try and really quickly like take my attention away from it and think of like other parts of my like body that I want to concentrate on. Like, do I want to shave my legs? Do I need to book a haircut? Do I want to brush my hair? Literally as simple as that. Like, if I find myself staring in the mirror, just take that concentration away from your skin. And I think that just helps to put your skin into perspective as just another part of your body that you want to look after, rather than it being some awful, like, terrible thing that is going to take over your life. There are so many other things you can concentrate on, probably matter a lot more than your skin. Just accept yourself and love your skin and do what you can.
Drink your water. Exfoliate, have a skincare routine, always a good thing, and that's for your whole body too. Like, I'm not saying you need to have toner and moisturizer as you would for your face, but you know, cleanse, exfoliate, moisturize your whole body. Practice self-love, look after yourself, and stop comparing yourself to other people, because other people don't care. They don't care about you most of the time, and unless it's your family or friends, then I hope they care about you, but you know, most people don't care about you. If you see stuff maybe on Instagram, they either have great genetics, they're looking after themselves, they're exercising, they're drinking water, they're exfoliating, all of that good stuff. They have money, or face doing. It's just skin. At the end of the day, everyone's going to decompose and we're not going to have skin anymore. We're all going to get old, saggy and die. So just love the skin you have now.
Something I remind myself of when I get those thoughts in my mind, when my skin is at its worst, when I start thinking, is this all people see when they look at me? I have to remind myself that I don't see other people that way. And yeah, you'll notice if someone has acne. There's no point lying about that. Like, just like you'll notice what colour someone's hair is. But I don't value people based on how they look, and I don't choose friends, and I don't respect the people that I care about based on how they look and based on how bad their acne is that day, you know? So I remind myself of that when I'm worried about how people may see me because of my acne. And I think lots of it is pushing through that pain barrier and pushing past thinking about it all the time. If you remind yourself of all the other things you have to be happy about and all the other things you have to be confident about, and remind yourself that you can't control everything to do with your body. Every body is different, and there are things that can help acne, but not every acne solution will work for everybody. So it's about reminding yourself that there are other bigger and better things in your life than whatever is going on with your skin.
For some people, it's a long process to accept your skin. Well, you kind of have to remind yourself on the days that you're hating your skin and hating how it looks and feels, you have to kind of like stay positive. What I do is if I I hate that pimple, I'll be like, oh my gosh, girl, you rock. Look at you, all red and stuff. Like, you'd have to, like, instead of talking bad about your skin and body and stuff, talk positive things to it. That'll kind of help you mentally feel a lot better about the way you look. Oh, and don't compare yourself to other people. That's a big no-no people do. They compare themselves to people they see online. Really, it's just like face tuning and Photoshop.
The best advice that I can give is just to accept the skin that you're in. You don't have to love it, but just to accept it, because you can't change it. That's not true, because some skin conditions you can help, but this isn't one that you can. I can't get rid of my vitiligo because it's an autoimmune skin condition. But like I said, just try to accept the skin that you're in, even if you don't love it. That's the best advice that I can give.
Beauty constructs are just that. They are there to make you feel shitty. They are there to get your money. They are then perpetuated by the people around you, your friends, your family. They tell you your skin's not normal. They tell you to change. Don't. You are beautiful the way you are. Don't buy into these things. You know, look into the mirror and see your beauty. It might take an hour, it might take a day, it might take some people a very long time, but you are beautiful and you will find something that you like. You know, is it the texture of your skin that is important in your life? Or is it your happiness? Is it your self-acceptance? Your skin holds you. This is your vessel on this plane. Love it. It might be hard, but I know you can.
I would say to accept just yourself as a whole, not so much just for your skin. I would just say to be grateful for having the skin that you have. It's been with you through everything. It's pretty fucking cool how skin can just repair itself after wounds and after all kinds of damages and stuff. If you can't change it, it's better to be positive about it than to be upset. I really appreciate this channel, and I really appreciate all of the awareness it brings to all kinds of different issues or different things that might make us feel uncomfortable to talk about. Peace out. Bye bye.